Hello and welcome to First Geek 411. This is episode 142, and I'm your host, Cameron Franklin. With me, as always, our middle correspondent, Chris Nicolay. Chris, how you doing today?
Middle?
It'll make sense.
Okay. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm a little tired. Been great.
And our southern correspondent, Emma, how are you doing today?
I didn't realize I was Southern, but okay.
It's all relative.
Pretty good. In a mild state of technological panic, but no complaints otherwise.
And then our northern correspondent, Shanine, how are you doing today?
Doing good. Also tired. Me and Chris were swapping lack of sleep stories.
Yeah.
I feel that.
It's funny because it's like darker longer right now. Tomorrow's the first day of fall, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, it's tomorrow?
Tomorrow, September 22nd. Fall's officially here. It's Han Solo season.
Rip. Also, fall doesn't get to Texas until like mid-January. So, you know.
I
Clever,
mean,
dude.
is that even still fall? I mean,
Yeah. Does that even count?
It's just like late summer, basically. But you know. This week, we're chatting about a lot of superheroes. And then we're chatting some video game deals that went down. And then, of course, next-gen consoles. And then we're going to wrap our show with our top 3 things we wish we were better at. Before we get into that, as always, you can find us on our social media. We are OneGeek411 on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, PlayStation Community. You can also join our Discord. Link will be in chat, or you can find it on our website, which is onegeek411.com. You can also shoot us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com. Then you can catch the shows live on Twitch Monday nights around 7:15 Mountain Time. And then find the videos over on our YouTube. Then, of course, if you're still a podcast listener, we love you. And you can rate and subscribe wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. So, getting into what we've been up to. Emma, why don't you start us off?
Yeah. I started playing Fall Guys this week. And it's very frustrating, but also very fun. Because I am terrible at it. But it is also just very fun to play, even though I fail. So I really just like the seesaw, whatever. I have yet to succeed in that level.
I thought I heard like, and I was like, it's my least favorite level.
Dislike.
Okay.
I have yet to succeed in that one.
It's the worst.
Seesaw's my favorite.
I've also been playing The Last of Us Part 1, the first game, and that's been a blast. And let's see, Christopher Paolini's new book came, and I've been reading that along with Sherlock Holmes.
Is that going to be a new series, or is it just a standalone book?
Unknown, unclear.
I don't trust him on series anymore.
No, I don't think anyone does.
I promise it'll be 3 books.
And then it turned out to be 4 books.
And the ending sucked?
Yeah.
What'd you just do? You spent 3 books building up to this and nothing happens. Still better than the movie, but
I guess we'll see. It's unknown, at least on my part, if it's intended to be a series or it's just a standalone. But it's science fiction, so I'm pretty excited. And then I had a set of metal D&D dice come in the mail, and that was really exciting because I ordered them months ago, and they finally came. So yeah.
Craft dice, man.
Wonderful.
They are very wonderful. They are stripy boys.
They're so pretty.
They are very pretty. I quite enjoy them.
Gotta love new dice.
Yeah.
I'm over here with like my $5 dice. Like, it
Yeah.
would be a shame if we happens to get cool ones too.
Yeah, well, this set
Eventually.
I saw, and they pretty much matched the character that I've been working on recently, just in terms of personality and looks and stuff. So it was worth the pricey venture. Even though I probably won't be using them anytime soon, it will be an exciting day when I do.
I still want to get some good food grade stainless steel dice.
Ice dice.
Ice dice.
Ice dice.
They're not going to actually be rolled unless there's a bar brawl. That's when they get used.
So they're ice dice.
I really like
in the
this
meantime,
world
they're
where
ice
Chris-
dice, and then you have to down your drink if there's a bar brawl and roll with those.
I really like this world, Chris, where you have dice for very specific situations. So like you have your ice dice, but then you also have your like grungy like dungeon crawl dice.
Yeah.
They're like
Is
like
it weird
sticky.
that's actually what I do?
That's actually what you do.
Like when I have all my dice out, I will roll my dice for specific reasons, like depending on the set. So like I have like a darker, shadowy, like smoky dice that I use for my stealth rolls, or if I'm doing any stealth damage or anything like that, I use those dice. And then I have a general set that I use for just every purposes. And then that's actually what I do. Like I have dice dedicated to specific things.
I like it.
I would probably do
If I
that
played-
too if I
Yeah.
had more than one set of dice.
If I played frequently enough, I would probably end up being one of those people. But I have yet to play more than a one-off, so I'm not quite there.
Understandable. But yeah, that like, so like when I'm buying new dice, I think, what would I roll you for? It's like, oh, I
Yeah.
really like these. What would I roll them for though? And if I can't think of that, then I don't buy them. But it also keeps me from just buying a ton of dice.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
Yeah,
I'm
Being
that's
one of
the
those,
other
like,
thing.
Dragon horde people who just hoards dice.
Yeah, if I bought every set of dice that I wanted, I would have no money.
I mean, I have enough spin downs.
Oh geez, so many spin downs.
Spin downs are everywhere. But I use those to roll my maps now.
Janine, what have you been up to this past week?
I am continuing watching The Next Generation. I'm like halfway through season 3 now. There's
Nice.
been some more action-y episodes lately, which is exciting. And other than that, everything's the same. I still love Data. Captain Picard is the coolest.
He's definitely my
That's-
favorite captain of all time.
I mean, he's the only captain I have experienced, but I feel like he's going to be my favorite.
See that? No. And the Data's phenomenal, and it also sets up for. Have you watched or are you going to watch the Picard series?
I'm going to.
Okay. It's actually really good, and I definitely recommend it, especially if you have watched The Next Generation. It's not as good, like, you'll probably be a little lost if you hadn't seen it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely finishing Next Generation first, but
It's also a good one to be watching for our book club this week.
yes. Oh my goodness. I love those episodes. Oh, they're so good. Okay. And in Twitter news, I accidentally exploded my Twitter this weekend.
Accidentally.
Yeah.
Or
She
on
didn't know
it.
what the repercussions were.
Right.
She put herself in a
didn't
position she was
know.
not prepared for.
Like, my Twitter wasn't even showing me properly how many notifications I had. It was like, you have 7. And then I'd like
Oh,
scroll
no.
down and have to click like show more notifications and scroll down and click show more notifications and scroll down and click show more notifications.
Oh,
my
no.
goodness. But it was good. It was all for a good reason. I thought that it would be super fun to have a list on Twitter where all the geeky Christians could find each other. And all the geeky Christians thought that was a really great idea.
And found each
So I
other.
ended up
Right.
We all found each other.
In like 10 hours. Everyone's here.
Yeah.
My favorite part is like, I think when I like stopped looking, you were at like 30 likes on that post. And then like I came back like 2 hours later or something and you were up to like 150. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, there's that. And then we're discussing before the show, I have it set up so that if one of the hosts tweets, it pings me on the First Geek account. So I was getting all of these notifications as well. Because every time Janine would reply to somebody, yes, every time I got so many of those.
Also, one thing I want to know is how is Geeky Faithful not one of the options for a hashtag?
You didn't suggest it, Chris.
I'm just
It's actually
saying,
there.
you're a host of this podcast. No, I get it. You
I
were just
asked for
reserving that for us
suggestions.
exclusively. I'm not on Twitter that
Yes.
often. The poll was already done by the time I actually checked.
We told you it was blowing up, Chris.
Yeah, which just made me not log into Twitter, period. It's like, oh,
End of
nope,
sentence.
not
That's it.
touching that. It's like, that's one of my biggest fears, actually, is like going viral suddenly. Because I'd probably just
I've
There's
shut
a
had
down.
guy
it
who
happen.
literally was like,
It is
I want to make a TikTok
terrifying.
for the podcast.
Oh, I've had a TikTok.
Just because
blow
I don't
and
want
it
my
is
own I don't want my
terrifying.
own TikTok. That's why I want to make one
Yeah.
for the podcast. Because if it goes
It's just
if it blows
Yeah.
up, I have you guys to rely on to keep it going. And I
Oh
don't have
my
to worry
gosh.
about it. If my own blows up, I'm gonna be like, delete.
yeah.
I don't need that kind of anxiety in my life.
It is stressful. I had one hit like 70,000 views because it was a informational thing on a bunch of rubber ducks that fell off a ship in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And people were like, this is great. And I was like, why are people liking this? It has like 17,000 likes now or whatever, something insane. And I was in panic for like 48 hours over it. And I was messaging one of my friends and I was like, why is this happening? It's just stupid rubber ducks. Why do people care about this?
People
She's
love
like,
rubber
"Dude, I don't
ducks,
know."
Emma.
I don't know.
People
but it's
love
something.
rubber ducks.
So it
Especially
is
the
terrifying.
millennials.
Yeah,
Especially
I
the
know.
millennials.
But it's still just like a bunch of rubber ducks fell off a ship in the middle of the ocean. Yay!
That's big news.
Yeah.
Me and my roommates had a pet rubber duck when we were living together.
The
has the
millennial
pet rubber duck
love
now?
of rubber ducks stems from Bert and Ernie.
Yeah,
True.
absolutely.
And so if you want to go viral with millennials, rubber ducks.
Rubber ducks.
Neff says the rubber duck gang.
Our college group was
We're all getting tattoos.
because there was 4 of us and we all played Pokemon together.
We're gonna get jackets, guys.
Great. Those Letterman jackets.
Good.
Oh man.
It's just a Mean Girls reference. We're getting jackets.
Chris, what all have you been up to?
So yesterday was Pokemon Go's Community Day for Porygon. So I spent most of the day doing that. Caught like 16 shinies, no perfects. It was really disappointing. But still got some good Porygon, so I got lots of trading fodder. And then also at the end of the day, as a result, I saw that I was like 3.5 kilometers from 50 kilometers for the week. So I took off at like 10 at night to go finish that off. Got to get those extra Pokeballs. But other than that, I also got my new pop figure that I pre-ordered in. It's Gandalf on Guare. I love him.
I really thought it was Dumbledore on Hedwig at first, but
I mean, Tolkien stole the idea for Gandalf from from Rowling, right?
Absolutely. Historically accurate, right?
Makes so much sense based
I
on the time
mean,
periods.
time is just a bunch of timey-wimey stuff. So,
Wibbly
Makes
wobbly, timey wimey stuff.
and then I got caught up anime that I have not been keeping up with. So I got caught up on Shokugeki no Soma, which is the Food Wars anime, and I'm a little sad because this week's episode will be the series finale. And I'm a little sad, but I'm also really excited for it. What else? I got caught up on Sword Art Online, which I'm not sure if they're gonna do more. I think they probably will, but they're finishing up their most recent arc now. Definitely worth watching. The most recent seasons, the Alchemization. I don't know how to say that word. Arc. I would recommend returning to. That arc is worth returning to Sword Art Online. It is. I don't know. It's just so good. At times. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I finished our book for the week twice, kind of. Listened and read to it. So.
Yeah.
nice.
And also, just to respond to someone in chat asking if they really like season 1 part 1 but hate season 1 part 2, how will I feel? It returns back to like kind of the original, like there's nothing crazy out there. They do a little more further. You get it. They move away from Kirito a little more in parts of the season, which is what I also really like about it, is we actually get to see development on Asuna's part, and as well as some of the newer characters that they introduce. And then, yeah, and you don't necessarily have to have seen everyone, the Gun Game or Elfheim to watch this one. You can just go straight into it. But I think, like, in general, after season 1 part 2 got so weird that everyone's like, and then
the internet did not need that second
right,
half.
and then they moved back. They started transitioning into other things, but they're playing with more like other really cool concepts in terms of technology in the most recent season as well, such as AI essentially. So they're not NPCs anymore. They're actual AI characters, and that's like, at least in the world that Kirito finds himself in. And there's also some weird timey-wimey stuff to keep
Speaking
in
of
mind.
timey-wimey stuff, I have been continuing my rewatch of Doctor Who. We're in season 6, and so, which I think is the second Matt Smith season.
Are you at the point where it's like, I haven't seen this because I know you started a few times. It's like, how far did we get? It's like, oh, I remember this. Are you finally at the point where you don't remember anything?
Yes, I had gotten, I guess it was I'd finished season 2 and gotten into season 3. And that was where I had stopped. So like, I think I'd seen the Christmas episode at the end of season 2. I think that was where I was. And so, or either that or was the episode like right before it. So the finale of season 2 that I saw.
I think I just need someone to watch it with.
That's been a big part for me.
I'll come watch with you.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Sign
me up.
It's like, we're just going to plan. We're going to get an Airbnb for the podcast, and we're going to make Chris watch Doctor Who for a week.
Yeah.
I mean,
This sounds like the best plan.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to this. Like, we'll do podcasts, and then
I'll have all the commentary.
Yeah,
and we'll stream it.
I'm not opposed to this. But yeah, so doing that, really good. I'll reserve my thoughts till I've seen all of Matt Smith's seasons on him. And then, what was I gonna say? I like his goofiness. We'll just say that. And then been playing Zendikar Rising on Magic Arena. I've also been playing, I mentioned this in the post show last week because I think we were about to start, but I've been playing a play-by-post game of D&D. And it's probably one of the nerdiest things I've ever done with my life.
Can
And
you
it is-
explain that to me? What does play by post mean?
So it comes from the idea of like, it used to be like play by mail. So like you would get like,
Oh,
you could play like chess by mail and you would like mail it back and forth.
interesting.
And then in the days of forums, it became play by post because you're posting on a forum as things are happening. And then now I'm playing, some of the Infinity Bros are there. One of them's the DM, and we're playing just on Discord. And so it's just one of those things that like we're adventuring, stories happening. If you like leave for 2 hours, they forget about your character and you don't get to be involved because you're now in the wrong place. I'm a little bitter, but I was super busy, so I can't really say much. But yeah, it's definitely one of the nerdiest things I've ever done, and I'm really enjoying it. And then I finally went back and watched some like good movies that I just never saw. And so one of them is not as good, and that's Birds of Prey. Which like as far as the DC movies go, pretty good. I really enjoyed it. I liked Harley Quinn being the narrator. And it kind of being focused on her. I like Huntress a lot. Yeah. And then also watched Jojo Rabbit, which is fantastic. It was one of those that we were like watching, and like I'd heard it was really good because it's Taika, but then I just never saw. But
Taika has some obscure titles out there, though.
Right. And like
You
this
know I'm a
one
big
won
Taika
some
fan.
like a handful of awards last year and stuff like that. And like I said, it's one I'd always like intended to see, and I just never had. But it's about a boy who's 10 years old and is a Nazi in Nazi Germany. And he has an imaginary friend who is Hitler, played by Taika. And then he discovers that there's a Jewish girl living in his house. And that's kind of like the setup for the movie. And so, and it's a comedy. Like there is that too. But like, so it's definitely way lighter than I thought it. Well, I mean, it's Taika, but like it is way lighter than I was expecting it to be. But it was really good, and I really enjoyed it. Very much recommend. And I think that brings us out of what we've been up to, which means if you have tabs open, you can now head over to our Twitter, and we are posting the poll for our next book club, because our book club will be this Thursday at 7:15 Mountain Time, right here on Twitch.
Yeah.
And we're talking
Yay.
The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. I just like lift up my computer monitor and show you the like. And so we're gonna start a poll. The poll will end during book club on Thursday. And in honor of Halloween, we are doing Sleepy Hollow or Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And so I'm doing a quick skim because I'm sure there's typos. We're gonna just go with it.
Gotta believe, Cameron, remember?
Gotta believe, you know. And so that is what our next book club will be. Super excited for this Thursday. Hope everyone can be here. I still need to finish listening to the audiobook, so you know.
I'm
on the
through
last
reading Sherlock.
Don't you
I'm on the
listen at like
last
2
story.
times speed, Cameron?
So I had to slow it down because I was missing stuff. And
Yeah.
so, because like since it's only I think if it was
It's 8 hours normal speed.
This one is 10.
Yeah.
How is it
I'm
10?
listening to.
What?
The guy reads
It's the-
slower? I don't know.
Yeah.
Possibly, I guess.
And there's pauses between each of the like chapters stories.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, so I've been doing that.
Is this
but
the free
because
one on
it's-
Audible? 'Cause that's
No,
what
I'm
I
doing it on
listen to.
YouTube.
yeah.
Oh,
And so, but because it's one person reading, and like he like kind of does voices for the characters, but it's not enough to easily distinguish them at 2 times speed.
my guy did too.
So I had to slow it down to 1.5.
I guess it's 9 hours.
Yeah.
And
That sounds about right.
Mine's read by Ralph Cosham. It's the one I listened to.
But
He did a really
with
good
that-
job. I am throwing that out there. He did a really great job.
I like the guy who's in the YouTube version does a pretty great job.
I really like him as well.
Mm-hmm.
I guess let's jump into our news/discussion topics for the week. Emma, what's on your mind?
Yeah, the one thing I saw this week was the Blade trilogy is coming to Hulu on October 1st. That is an older venture into the world of superheroes, if you will. By older, I mean 90s, early 2000s. And that's exciting for me because I've never seen them, but I've meant to. So this now gives me an opportunity to see them. So, yeah. That's my one bit of news.
I'm in that same boat. Like Blade is, I feel like I was too young when they came out, is probably why I didn't see them.
Yeah.
And then I just, in traditional me fashion, just never got around to watching them.
Never saw them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was too young when I watched them, but that's a pretty ongoing theme with my childhood.
right.
Yeah. Understatement right there.
What's that supposed to mean?
I don't know.
7-year-olds should not watch Chucky. That's all I'm saying.
That's all I'm saying.
Gosh, no.
Especially in a house full of dolls because your grandma collects them.
Oh no.
You know,
Bless
I've
your
never
soul.
actually met anyone that like actually collected dolls like that, but that's mad creepy.
Oh, they were mad creepy. There was like a really big one that used to sit in a chair as a clown too.
Ooh.
Never sat right with you. Right in the room I slept in.
Ooh.
Always threw
Of course.
a blanket over that.
My grandma had these things. I forget what they were called, but the basic premise is like they were like dolls, but they like leaned against the wall and like with like their face towards the wall. And it was just like one of those things that was like really weird. And it was like, I never like, what?
That would
What is
really
this
creep
thing?
me out, not gonna lie, if I
Yeah.
ever saw something like that.
And like they weren't like in
Yeah.
the bedroom, so there was at least that. But like, I was just like, it's one of those like the older I've gotten, the more confused I've been to like why those existed.
Yeah. But Blade didn't scar me like Chucky did, so I mean I really enjoy Blade. Actually.
Yeah.
I think it's about time for you guys to get in on that.
I agree. That's why I'm excited. It's showing up to Hulu.
Yeah. I've never seen Blade, but also I can't Hulu. So
You can't? Like, is that not available in Canada?
no.
Or do you just need access to an account?
It's not available in Canada.
Man.
Bummer.
Yeah.
We just need to get one of those VPN companies to sponsor us.
Yeah.
Then you could be from anywhere.
ExpressVPN joins us. No, Surfshark.
Someone in chat has helped me out. The dolls that I'm talking about are called Timeout Tammys or Troublesome Tanyas. And they like, because it's like the idea is that they're supposed to be like
In trouble?
in trouble and in the corner. So thank you, Neff. But yeah, they were mad creepy.
In
Like I
the
said,
wall,
the older
Wendy.
I've gotten, the more they weirded me out. But
Just in general, dolls. Like,
Yeah.
Why were these created?
Shanine, what's on your mind for the week?
The trailer for WandaVision came out. So excited. Ah.
And it just like randomly came out at like 11 p.m. Like,
Oh, ready for that.
I don't know. Apparently it came out during the Emmys or something.
Oh, that would make sense.
Yes. But oh man, I love Scarlet Witch. I love Vision.
Mhm.
Theirs is like the only comic series that I've read all the way through. And oh my goodness, I'm so excited. And it just, the trailer looks so good.
I like the display art too.
Yeah.
The display graphic
Yeah.
is phenomenal. Whoever did that did such a good job.
It's so
Yeah.
good. I like the throwback to Vision in the comics, where he's like they're like
Yes.
dressed up for Halloween, and he's in like the green paint and stuff.
And Scarlet Witch's old costume too.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm so excited. I hope that this is as weird and like, I don't know if unsettling is the right word, but I hope it's as like weird and out there as the trailers are making it out to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, it had such a like creepier feel than I was expecting. Like, especially based off the teasers that they released before. I'm so excited.
I am more excited now because at first I was like, how are they gonna do this? This is gonna be weird. And now I'm like, okay, I'm sold.
This is how they're going to do it.
This
It's
is
going
how.
to be weird.
Now I know.
WandaVision, I think, is one of my like top MCU projects in the works right now. And so it's like between that, Thor, Love and Thunder, and Miss Marvel in like no specific order. And so
I'm just want everything. I'm excited for the horror movie.
Yeah.
For Doctor Strange's horror movie. I am so stoked
I'm ready
for
for that.
When it finally comes. Despite all the delays.
And Janine, since you said you've read the comics, what are you expecting from this series?
I don't know. I don't think I'm expecting anything like storyline wise necessarily. I'm just so excited to see Wanda and Vision's relationship because they're just like so wonderful together.
Mm-hmm.
Like Wanda's so like strong and awesome, and Vision just like loves her and supports her, and they're so great.
And it's something that we didn't get like a lot of background into in the cinematic universe.
Mhm.
Like they allude to it just to be so you're not like completely surprised by some of the
It's
actions they're
basically-
taking, but at the same
like,
time it's
yeah.
like, hey, by the way, this happened off screen.
It's like implied to be between Civil War and Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
Yeah.
it's like that they were together. But
Oh, I guess one thing I'm expecting is I cannot remember her name right now, but kind of like Wanda's witch mentor. I'm expecting her to be in it.
I think we're gonna be really
I
surprised
haven't-
at the characters in it. Like we know
Yeah.
one, like it's like, oh, okay, sweet. We're gonna look at that, but I think because of the format, everything, there's gonna be some good surprises in this.
also Agent Coulson, put him in.
Why not?
He belongs
Right.
everywhere.
He's just everywhere at this point anyway. You might as well.
He's got to be in there. Maybe he'll be costumed during Halloween or something.
Well, we know this Halloween everyone's gonna be just in hazmat suits and beekeeper suits.
Beekeeper. The T-Rex costumes.
Yep, exactly.
Couple of ninjas out there.
Neff is asking if this is based on the Tom King Vision family comic. And to that, I say, I don't know. I haven't seen anything regarding that.
I mean, with the MCU, they don't really base anything on the comics. They just take a lot of the influences of the comics and warp them to their needs,
Like
Mhm.
Civil War.
which is how you want it. I don't want a direct copy. Like they even,
Mm-mm.
that's their thing. The MCU is its own thing. It's its own set. And yes, you're going to see elements from their comics, from your beloved comics, but we don't want to disappoint you by trying to recreate the comics in a movie form.
Yeah,
And-
Dark Phoenix.
I think there's definitely elements from the Scarlet Witch and Vision series, just from what it looks like them like trying to settle down and like live a normal life in suburbia. which is
Super mean.
definitely like
Normal.
That never works out.
Yeah.
No.
No, it
Not at all.
doesn't. But
If you want a normal life, you live in the city. Or start a farm, I guess. I don't know. Go
Never
rural.
start a farm.
Go
It won't
rural.
work.
Go rural.
No.
Don't
You
go to the
never
Pull a
burbs.
Hawkeye.
Don't try to live in the
Pull a
burbs.
Hawkeye and tell no one you
Exactly.
have a family, and just own a farm.
Exactly. That works.
Yeah,
did it?
I
Did-
mean,
yeah, did it though?
Like a little
most
bit
of his
did.
life it worked.
a little bit.
It worked right up until it stopped working.
Yeah,
But then again, like everyone was messed up. Like if your
Mhm.
farms get messed up, it's because everyone else is messed up too. It's
Yeah.
fine at that point, right?
it's not just targeted
It's
at
not
you.
targeting you.
True.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Janine, you had another thing in the notes.
Yeah, just coming off Geeky Christian Twitter. How have you found like your people and like your community in any area of life?
I show up.
Yeah. I wear fun t-shirts and then people comment on them.
Mhm.
And then we have conversations. Therefore, the other people come to me because I wear fun t-shirts.
Sometimes I postpone writing a guest blog piece
Until we can line it up conveniently.
until we can line it up conveniently and invite them to join the podcast.
Got him. That was the master plan.
All along.
Yeah. I think for
Brilliant
me,
plan.
like being comfortable with my own opinions has been a big part of that. Like, whether it's like almost a meme in terms of like me playing up a joke or being comfortable with my own interests or any of those kinds of things and just talking about them. There's definitely a lot of people that like one of my good friends that I played Magic with in Connecticut, he just saw me posting on Facebook about Magic once. And that was how we started playing Magic together. Some other stuff like was like being the one that like reaches out and tries to start those conversations with people. And so like there was a group in Connecticut that I played board games with, and it kind of just started out of the like, hey, I have board games. People want to come over and hang out and play board games. Stuff like that. A shout out to Chunk the Hut for that. And then, yeah, I think kind of just putting yourself out there is a big part of that. I say that as an extrovert, so it's relatively easier for me. But
Right. For me, like part of it's also just being like open to those experiences in general. So I let people talk to me in a lot of stuff.
like me,
Pretty much. I mean, like ultimately, like I had like for me a lot of things just worked out too. Like when I first moved back to Helena, like, you know, I'd played Magic with Cameron and our friends in college and stuff, but when I first moved back I wasn't gonna pursue that. But then ran some old friends and they wanted to get into a trading card game, so they picked Magic, and I was like, I can jump back into that. I've got some of a collection and things, and being open to that, or just being, you know, if 2 or 3 people talk me into something, because typically it's like if one person's trying to talk me into doing something, I'm like, we'll see. 2, I'm like, oh man, this is becoming a thing. 3 is like, fine, I'll do it. Then I usually enjoy it, but
There you go.
got him.
and that's how you guys are gonna get me to watch Doctor Who, because there's 3 of you.
Gang up
Wearing
against
down.
you. Schedule that
Airbnb in the middle of nowhere.
But here's the other thing: the more people push things on me, the more I'm gonna push my stuff on them too. It's a two-way street here. It's like, I'll watch Doctor Who, but you're gonna have to watch this.
It's a deal.
Thing is, most of the things I'm gonna convince you guys to watch are a lot shorter than Doctor Who.
Oh yeah. By a long
Because
shot.
it's typically going to be an anime. It's going to be like 12, 13 episodes. So it's like 6 hours in total for the entire thing.
Okay, but some animes are also like 5,000 episodes.
I mean,
so...
true, but
the
most of
middle
those I
ground.
haven't watched. Or I didn't get into. Or, yeah, or they fell off. Yeah, I don't watch the epics. There's new anime every season that I got to keep up with. I can't do the epics. Just can't. I tried. Although, I mean, like, I did start watching One Piece this year. I don't even know where I left off, though.
If I know anything about Chris, he's one of those 0 or 100 people.
that's very true.
Yeah.
Like, I
He
started playing
either has
Pokemon
not-
Go again.
Yes.
That's all I've been
15
doing.
shiny Porygons.
I played for 6 hours straight, just catching Porygons for Community Day. I mean, this is me. It's all or nothing. That's why binging is a problem. Like,
Let's go on and jump into Chris and what's on your mind for the week.
so much. This morning is brought to our attention that Microsoft like kind of silently bought Bethesda, or not really Bethesda himself, but their parent company, for like $7.5 billion. So much money. I mean-
Casually, low key, no big deal.
I mean, it is Microsoft. I mean,
Yeah.
I
so
saw
this is
FYI.
ultimately why Microsoft opted not to buy TikTok. They were doing this.
Yeah.
But at the
Yeah.
end, though, isn't like TikTok just kind of chump change compared to 7 point whatever billion? Like that's
I
like a
mean,
rounding
yes.
error on this.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. But TikTok has also been acquired by Walmart and Oracle.
It is in the works.
I
Not
mean, yes.
currently
Like,
in the works.
it's been approved, whether or not, it goes through. But like Microsoft
Yeah.
buying. Okay. So several things bother me with this because Microsoft purchasing studios historically not good.
I mean, everything worked out great for Rare. Just kidding. Nothing worked out great for Rare.
Exactly.
That's like where the narrator comes in and goes, "It did not work out."
Did not work out. It's like a series of unfortunate events type of storytelling.
Ugh.
But at the same time, depending on how much freedom they still give Bethesda and everything, and also I don't know what this means for certain Bethesda titles that are especially timed exclusives to PlayStation. And also there is also kind of like a timing thing here. Kind of an odd coincidence that Demon Souls and Final Fantasy 16's PC launch dates are also retracted as recently. Yeah. But it sounds like they are going to leave a lot of power and decision into Bethesda, so I'm not sure if that's necessarily going to make Bethesda titles Xbox exclusives when it comes to console world, but granted, as always, you'll have PC. But yeah, I have played like pretty much every Elder Scrolls game on a Sony console.
So I was thinking, I'm a big Bethesda fan and I'm a Sony gamer. This kind of gets me. I'm kind of concerned. And then I was like, wait, I played Fallout and the Elder Scrolls. That's it. I haven't played any of the. I don't like play the other Bethesda games. And I was like, oh, okay. There's that. But I do have to say, anyone that was upset when the Avengers was getting exclusive content on PlayStation and is now happy about this, they call that hypocrite.
Yeah,
now,
right.
I'm
I've
all up
never
for
complained about console
you.
exclusive content. Well, I'm just saying,
not
like,
you. Yes.
like in general, like I get it that there's incentives for you to do it, like or whichever. And that's fine.
And
I've
they're-
always understood it. But I mean, yeah, if Microsoft does make them more exclusives, granted Bethesda's such a big studio that, or Zenimax in general. Zenimax is the parent company that was actually purchased.
And I think that that's something you mentioned that when we started into this. Like, I've seen a lot of people like, this is the biggest purchase in games. It's like, it is big, but this is not Xbox buying Bethesda. This is Microsoft buying Zenimax.
And we do have to
like,
separate
there's
those.
a difference there.
Yeah.
Like,
And historically in general, like a lot of these games were, back before console gaming was as big or was more limited. I mean, Elder Scrolls started off as a PC game. Doom, definitely originally a PC game.
Oh yeah.
And then they opened up to, like, as consoles got more powerful, more PC like, I guess ultimately that's when we started seeing them branch into those fields. So I mean, like, the place to play their Bethesda games has always, the true place to play their games has always been PC. And ultimately I just, when it came to PlayStation titles, that's where I played them. But we will see what this has to do. But I mean, you can still play with a controller on your PC, and modding. I don't know. Microsoft Studios just in general. Like, whenever they buy, things change way too much, or they put weird demands on games, and it just hurts the IP itself. And that really worries me, because Elder Scrolls is one of my favorite IPs in gaming history. The big open world. I mean, like, every open world game is based off concepts from Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to ruin that, especially since we have a title for the next Elder Scrolls. Like, I just want it to be good. That's all.
Fingers crossed.
Even if I have to play it on PC, I just don't want them to mess with the title more so than anything. Looking at you, Halo.
okay. Oh, 343.
In other kind of video game news, though, we got also in the chaoticness that was the PS5 pre-release or
Chris,
pre-order.
take my point.
I'm not getting into that, but in the chaos that ensued, everyone lost track that Nintendo had a direct right on Thursday. And so at the Nintendo Direct, they did announce it's mostly a mini direct exclusively relating to the Monster Hunter series. So we're seeing 2 new entries coming for Monster Hunter. And I love Monster Hunter for the most part. I haven't really played like any of the handhelds or any of their previous titles, but they did such a great job with Monster Hunter World, that with the new titles, I'm super stoked for. So Monster Hunter Stories, Wings of Ruin, and Monster Hunter's Rise are the 2 new Monster Hunter titles. And obviously coming to Switch, and I'm excited for these so much. Because, I mean, we always thought that maybe they would port, but it's probably just too much for the Switch. Port Monster Hunter World to the Switch just never happened. But now we're actually getting the official running on of the Monster Hunter series. We got Disgaea 6.
Yes, out of nowhere. Just
Out of
6.
nowhere. Exactly. I love the Disgaea series mostly because I love that tactical RPG style game, and it's just the characters are just so far out there, and it's just, the storytelling is absurd, and it's a wonderful series that I'm happy is getting a continuance. Yeah, we saw a few other like smaller games and stuff that I'm not completely familiar with. I didn't watch the whole thing. I mostly tuned out after the big titles that I was excited for. But yeah, Rune Factory 5 is one that I know a lot of people is kind of a beloved Nintendo IP, or has been an exclusive. I'm not sure if it's by Nintendo though, but
I want to say no, but I'm not sure.
I want to say no too. I'm pretty sure it's a no, but it has been exclusive to Nintendo consoles. Typically Nintendo handhelds. Because it's a Japanese RPG. Like almost exclusively, like it's a big title in Japan, more so than anything. But yeah, so we lost track of everything because no one was watching it because everyone was trying to find PlayStation 5s.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings us into my topic for the week, and that's the PlayStation 5. And I'm on the hype train because I got a pre-order. And so,
Lucky you.
before we get into that, there was a whole showcase. I don't know, before we get into that, as I don't know what else I have to say about that specifically, but so we had a whole showcase. It opened with, it finally happened after the longest time between numbered games in the series. Final Fantasy 16 finally announced. Hopefully it won't take them 10 years to get this one out. And it won't like
It's not Kingdom
change,
Hearts, Cameron.
or Final Fantasy 15.
You mean
but,
versus 13?
Yeah, versus 13. So we saw that. Super excited. There's crystals. There's giant monsters. It kind of looks like a light Dark
They're
Souls-esque
icons.
game. Icons.
Thank you very much.
My bad.
I have mixed
We
feelings
also-
about Final Fantasy 16 because it looks like they're reusing a lot of assets from Final Fantasy 14. And I'm like, just don't reuse assets for Final Fantasy games. Like at first, when I first started the trailer, I was like, oh, Final Fantasy expansion, Final Fantasy 14 deal or expansion. Okay, sweet. Nope, whole new Final Fantasy game. Okay.
The one I'm excited for is the new God of War game.
Everyone
Yes.
is.
So that was
But
like the
this is
one
just-
more thing at the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
And I was watching Kind of Funny's coverage, and right before they started, one of the hosts goes, "This intro music sounds a whole lot like God of War."
Huh.
And so there's that. And then apparently he'd been making that joke behind the scenes of just like everything of like, those colors sure look a lot like blank, and just trying to like, with like, if you say enough things, one of them has to be right.
Yeah.
So
Sounds like
Yeah,
kind
so
of funny.
God of War was our stinger. We also saw Spider-Man Miles Morales gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Woo.
He Venom struck people, and it looks awesome. Like, I don't have much else to say. It's going to be great. We also got Hogwarts Legacy, which is a RPG set in the late 1800s, about 100 years before the Harry Potter series. And so
I'm actually looking forward to this one
I'm mad hyped.
because it like an open world thing. I wonder how the play, like what the gameplay is actually going to be like too. But also, like when it comes to like Harry Potter games though in general, so like the Wizards United or United whatever, or like their mobile games, they have maintained this aesthetic
Mhm.
too, which I'm very pro. That they didn't try to do anything too crazy in developing this. I just hope also they do need, like, for me to be really into this, they need like Skyrim level character customizability. Because I'm gonna make the craziest looking character for this world.
Absolutely.
You just like
gotta
slide
be an
all the
option.
sliders one way or the other.
Yep, exactly.
Yes.
And then you pick crazy colors.
We also saw some Call of Duty, some Resident Evil. We got a Deathloop trailer, so shout out to Bethesda. We saw Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, new Oddworld, Five Nights at Freddy's is still a thing.
Ugh.
That was my like biggest surprise of this,
Absolutely.
was that exists. We saw Demon Souls, some extended gameplay. Fortnite still exists. Also, but that one's less surprising. We also got the announcement of the PlayStation Plus collection. And then we got the reveal of the price for PlayStation 5 as well as release date. And then it will go live for retailers as soon as tomorrow. Plot twist right now.
Right after the
and-
showcase.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Also, we should say recently, as a result of this, Walmart was originally just doing online pre-orders with in-store pre-orders available starting, tomorrow, first day of spring. But
Fall.
no, false. No longer happening. First day of fall, yeah, sorry. And not happening now. Instead, you can risk your chance and show up the day of to see if they have any in stock. So right now, all my bets are on Costco because they don't do pre-orders. In-store pre-orders in general, and they should have some in stock, and it's typically a bundle, so that's a plus too. Love me a good bundle.
You can expect me to get the day of off, if not the night before too.
Oh, I already have it requested.
Yeah.
I'll probably do a half day on both days, but just make sure I'm covered for if I am up all night.
Well, see, I have
I'm
to
camping.
drive at least an hour and a half to get to my nearest Costco.
And
So-
then, so bring your tent, your sleeping bag, pack a thermos of hot
Yep.
chocolate. I'm camping out.
My entire fridge.
Although I'm
Bye,
very
Ma,
pro
see you
doing this
tomorrow.
because it's been a while since we've actually had to do like a camp out for a pre-release for a
So
launch.
what y'all are
Yeah.
missing is we combine the things and we do the Airbnb watching Doctor Who while waiting in line at Costco.
Dude, why don't we just actually make this happen?
Got him. Well, because I want to be here to
Please.
get my PlayStation 5. So
Oh, that's fair.
that's the main
Just
reason.
plan to scalp it for like $1,000, and we'll buy you another one while we'll all just get them at
Well, I'll
Costco,
just go to Costco.
and we'll all just go to Costco.
In before, they only have like one short of however many we need.
Well, if you're first
No.
in line, so you're saying they have like 3 in stock.
Yeah. So now we're fighting amongst ourselves for them.
Well, if you're first in line, hopefully they have more than 3 at any store. But
Hopefully.
You gotta believe
it's not the Switch.
it's not the Switch.
That was the craziest one. Like
Yeah.
the Switch was out of stock for ever after launch.
And then we do want to say, if you're listening live, Xbox Series S and X pre-orders are tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific. So translate that accordingly. So if you're in that boat, be ready.
Be
9
there,
p.m.
be square.
Wait, which way is this Pacific? No, I'm just kidding.
Which way Pacific? And also, like, my biggest thing is everybody's been talking about how the Xbox pre-orders are going to go so much better, except all the scalpers know what time pre-orders are going live.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
My biggest thing is like they need, like, I don't know, like normally there should be restrictions on how many units you can buy. Honestly, for console release, it should always be 1.
Yeah.
1 per family or per person. And that also helps a lot with scalpers. But also, like, I don't know. I know Wizards keeps a database of possible scalpers and stuff to prevent overbuying of their special products that they set, like the secret layers and stuff, so that it'll automatically cancel your order. It also does, like, I know PAX does for their tickets. So that, like, granted, it'll take them out of inventory, but they'll have a resell day for once they verified scalpers. Yeah.
with that, we'll jump into our top 3. But first, again, a reminder, book club this Thursday, 7:15 here on Twitch. It'll be on podcast services, YouTube, etc. All that at a later time. Chris, I'm just now remembering none of us reminded you to record the Zoom call. So that's our bad.
Oops. And I forgot to
Um,
do it. So we are pulling audio from the video this week.
And so
Oops.
And so yeah, so book club here 7:15. Really excited. Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. If you have a question or topic that you would like discussed in book club, make sure to get that to us on social media or Discord or whatever.
Discord's
we'll
a
post
great
a little,
one to do it.
Yeah, we'll post a little call out there for people to post anything that they want about the book. And then that brings us into our top 3, which is 3 things you wish you were better at. We have some Twitter responses. The first one from Matt Garza: for sure drawing. Many of my friends are talented in this area, and I can barely draw a stick figure correctly. Yep. We also got one from John. I've been playing guitar for over 20 years, and I'm not really as good as I would like to be. Less trivially, I wish I were more patient, especially with my family. And then Wes says writing, which I saw that come in, and I was just like, I'm not gonna, like, I just liked it. And then we're like gonna let Shanine jump in with this one. Since you are the writer in the group. But and then I think we had one more on Shanine's post on making things. I am not. I found it. We got one from Laura K. It just says social media. So let's hop into our top 3s. Emma, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, one of mine also happened to be drawing of some sort. Just that seems, I've done some off and on throughout my years, and it's a fun pastime. But it's definitely something I want to work on. So it's definitely something that it's more that I wish I would work more on it rather than, oh, I wish I was better. Because that's just like, that's something that you can't just be automatically good at. It requires practice. So, yeah.
Good one.
And I think that that's a big one for like that's the big thing for all of these is like a lot of them are, you got to make the time.
Yeah.
And like, that's kind of the challenge of it, is making the time.
Mm-hmm.
Shanine, what about you?
So yes, speaking of making the time, like Wes, I also wish I was better at writing. I think it is something I'm decently good at, but it's something that I know that I could be a lot better at if I did it more.
I think that's like every writer's response. Would be for this question. I wish I was better at writing. It's like you're still levels ahead of us, but I'm the layman. But it is still something you always feel you can improve and be better at, which is good. That's the point.
Chris, what you got?
Knife skills. By like kitchen knife skills.
You got to practice that stabbing.
That too, yeah.
Knives or...
Stab and twist.
Specifically cooking. Like I feel like if I was better with a knife in the kitchen, I'd probably cook for myself more. Less mess if you're better. Also, it saves a lot of time when you're good with the kitchen knife.
So what you do is you hold with a thumb and a finger on the blade.
Right.
And you hold the food
as a
knuckled.
claw. Right.
So that you don't cut your fingers off.
Right.
Or you just cut your fingers off.
And you want the good stance also, 1 foot forward and 1 foot back. Like honestly, a stance like you are about to stab someone, and hold the knife with that confidence.
Right.
There's another side to our
professional
friendship.
chefs.
I have decent knife skills. Like I'm not like I know the claw and everything, but there are some things I'm just really bad at cutting. I'm like
It's true.
But
small things are harder.
Yeah. Like garlic.
Yeah.
Except for I always cook
You
so
just-
much garlic, so it takes me forever to get that garlic prepped.
Just chop it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But throwing
I'll
knife
change
skills
one
would
of
be in
mine.
there too. Just knife skills in general. All the knife skills.
the one of mine was writing. So I'm going to take that out since Shanine mentioned it. But I will say I thought I was a good writer until I had my like stuff edited by people who are good writers.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh no, I'm awful at this.
I'd be
so-
a decent editor.
Yeah. So shout out to the Love Thy Nerd people for crushing my hopes and dreams. And so
Oh,
just kidding.
no.
We love them. And they did a great job making the articles that I've done for them sound much better than they would have without them. But so kind
Then
of
they're
out
like,
of that.
we're just not going to have Cameron write for us anymore
Right.
because we're essentially writing the article anyway. Just-
You're not wrong. So that was one. But then I think kind of just in general, the idea of being better at making things. So like I'm super into like the like maker like YouTube channels and like the craft ones, acrylic, woodworking, all that kind of stuff. And that one kind of falls into like the art thing of just like I can see it in my head and then like I try to do it and it just like crumbles in my hands.
Mhm.
Like and it's like but that's not how it works. It's not what and then yeah. So and I think going back to what Emma said, it's one of those that you just got to practice.
Mhm.
And it's one of those that I just haven't done that. And
you
like,
have to
my
make the
dad,
mistakes.
yeah. And my dad's super good at it. So I 100% know I could just go talk to him and he would just show me how to do it. But, so that's mine, making things. What you got, Emma?
Yeah. My next one would be, I wouldn't really say good or better at, but I want more practice in like playing D&D because I haven't had a lot of practice in that, and that's something that I am super interested in, and I'm very much a beginner. So I want to I guess I want to get better at it in the sense of just like playing more and getting more sort of experience. Because it's just from a little bit that I've played, it seems like a lot of fun, but it can be a little bit intimidating when you play with people who have already been playing for a long time and are like super like good at sort of improv, if you will, because this very relies heavily on just making things up as you go. So
Mhm.
that's just something that I want to spend more time getting familiar with, and by extension getting more comfortable and better at. So yeah.
I agree. I'm not great at thinking on my feet.
No.
So like D&D is hard sometimes.
Yeah.
But it gets
And-
better the more you do it for sure.
Yeah. And it can definitely carry across to like real world thinking on your feet applications. So
For sure.
Shanine, what's your number 2?
I also went a little geeky with this one, and I wish I was better at strategy games. Like, I know playing games with my husband, we can be like a few turns into a new game, and he'll have like the strategy figured out and know like exactly how he's gonna win, and then he'll do it. And me, I have to play like 10 times to finally figure out what the strategy is, and then like another 5 times to figure out how to implement it, and then I still don't win. And
Mm-hmm.
I just wish I was better at thinking strategically.
My
I
next
feel like
one,
there's a t-shirt in there.
probably. We'll have to re-listen. Next one is Fall Guys.
Although, Chris, I
Just
mean,
kidding. Like, in general, I wish I was better at time management.
Don't we
Just for
all?
like everything. Yeah. I feel like I'd be better at everything if I just had better time management. Like that is the source of my lack of ability in most things.
I feel that.
Hmm.
Or I mean, sometimes I wish I was a better bowler. But then I'm already better than most of my friends.
Can confirm.
I don't know. Like I know like my last one, but the middle one I was like I just picked time management because it covers everything I want to be better at.
For my last one, I went self-reflective, and promise I was thinking this, Shanine, before you tweeted about the Enneagram right before we went live. But mine is I wish I was better at understanding myself. So that like super cheesy like what motivates me and how I think and how like that kind of stuff. I definitely feel like in recent years or even like the past like year and a half or so, I've come to understand myself a whole lot better than I feel like I understood myself for like all of my early 20s when I was living on my own. And it was just like, I feel like I could have used this during these times. But alas, here we are. And I'm finally getting them. But better late than never, I guess. And so, so that's my self-reflection there. And so, in our final rotation, Emma, what do you got?
Kind of along the self-reflection. I'm very stubborn, so I wish I was better at not being stubborn. Very simple, but 'tis the state of things. I'm working on it. Bless you.
Shh. We'll edit that out, maybe. I don't know. It wasn't a burp, so we don't have that out for Cameron's mom, at least.
Shout out to my mom.
We haven't made that shout out in a while.
Janine, what you got?
Okay, my last one. I actually did not grow up playing video games, so I didn't have like all of my formative childhood years spent dedicated to developing my video game hand-eye coordination. And I really wish I had better video game hand-eye coordination. Like, I'm shockingly bad at platformers. They're just like jumping, and like if they start moving faster, and then if you add in a 3D element, it's like a whole other problem, and I just can't. And then with like maps on like Call of Duty and stuff, if it's not like the super small maps, I just completely lose where I am and just wander around hoping that it's okay. My brain just doesn't think in video games very well.
It's like we're the same person.
Sticks are
Janine.
hard if you're not used to them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Like,
I mean,
I can do Animal Crossing.
Platformers in
That's my
general
speed.
are some of the hardest games out there. So
Mhm.
don't feel too bad about those. Those are the ones that people like. Those are what speedrunners get good at. So no one's good at those except for really good people.
Speedrunners.
Speedrunners. Yeah, like I recently tried to play Mega Man.
Mega Man's hard.
I'm like, what? I used to play this game. I used to enjoy this.
Yes.
What is this? This is why we like open world games now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Chris?
I was playing Super Lucky's Tale, and it's like a 3D platformer, and it's so hard to land on the small little things, and I died all the time.
For my last one, I have picked woodworking. Like I know it will come like as I do more, but it's just so hard when you spend money on, like it's because it's an expensive piece.
Mhm.
Like it's an expensive hobby for the most part. It's hard to be bad. It's so hard
It's
to be
expensive to be bad.
bad. Yeah, and expensive. I mean, you can get away with, like, I don't want to just mess with cheap wood though. Like, I don't want to
Mm-mm.
practice on pine or anything. So I just wish I was just naturally better. Yep.
I'm holding out hope that I'm like secretly amazing at something and I just haven't figured it out yet.
That's like the theory, right? It's like, oh, it's like I'll find something I'm talented, so I could start in the middle at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
Except for no one's actually just naturally talented at crafts.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's what I've learned.
My last one, and this my rough outline was something I'm bad at, something in like personal, and then something I think I'm good at, but I'd like to get better. And the thing I'd like to get better at is I'd like to be a better conversationalist. And I like talking to people, and I like telling stories and all of that stuff. But it's definitely one of those things that, especially when it comes to doing a podcast for 3 years and like going in and editing and then listening to how often I say certain things or
Mm-hmm.
the tics that I have or those types of things, like just having to listen to those. Like it's gotten to the point where I can look at an audio file for where I am talking and notice where the is just by looking at the file. Like, and same with like, and like all of those things. And it's just so much that you can focus on, and kind of like writing. It's one of those things you can always get better at.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's in terms of just public speaking or actually holding conversation with others or all of that. And that's something I'd like to grow in. So we're going to come back next week with our progress, and I expect somebody to be an expert at one of their things.
Okay, I'll be missing a finger.
I'll be
Great.
You'll be, see, Chris, you can
'Cause
combine
two of my
woodworking
things-
and knife skills.
Knife
Yes.
skills and woodworking, very sharp objects or very fast mechanical objects.
Got 'em.
Things can go really wrong if I try to master them too fast.
Yeah.
I just like things that are sharp.
Dun, dun, dun.
With that, wraps up our show for this week. Next week, our top 3 is going to be our top 3 convention experiences. And so if you have one of those, you can let us know over on our social media, as well as vote in the poll for next month's book club.
That's what's really important. Vote in that poll.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vote for Sleepy Hollow.
Chris out here. So you can find that poll on our Twitter, which is OneGeek411, and you can also find us as that on Facebook, Instagram, and our PlayStation community. If you want to chat with us between shows, you can do that over on our Discord server. And then you can shoot us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com. And if you want to watch live, you can do that on our Twitch, 7:15 Mountain Time, and then hang out afterwards for post-show chat. And you can also find the video recordings over on our YouTube. Podcast listeners, please rate and subscribe. It helps us out a lot over on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Then you can check out our show notes on our website, onegeek411.com, where you can find our sister podcast, Faith, Trust, and Pixie Dust. Got a special episode going up this week with me. So, hype for that. Then you can, of course, find us on our personal social medias. I'm Humar Whittle.
I'm not so foreign.
I am not prepared with an I.
The Hoot and Howl on Twitter and Hoot and Howl Tales, TALES on Instagram.
With that, it's been a great week.
Wash your hands.
I love you.
You're worth it.
I still haven't come up with something.
Go check out Geeky Christian Twitter.
The game is afoot.
Okay.
Ooh.